Hi there, I'm Matt LeMay, here for the LimeWire Music Blog, talking to you about the year in indie rock, 2007. This has been a pretty interesting year, all things considered. The big story, as far as I'm concerned, is that bands on indie labels like The Shins and Spoon and the Arcade Fire are suddenly making a pretty big impact on the pop charts. That hasn't happened in a long time, and it's an interesting development. A lot of people have been speculating about why this might be, what impact it might have. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's really an issue of indie rock expanding from being a subculture to being one sort of outgrowth of the mainstream culture. What does that mean? In a subculture, specific and broad knowledge are rewarded. To be an active participant in a subculture, you have to know a lot, and you have to know a lot of things that aren't readily available. People used to accuse indie rock of being a really elitist and snobby subculture, but any subculture, for it to be healthy, has to have some component of elitism. You have to reward people who seek out knowledge. That's how the culture stays healthy and active. Nowadays, I don't really think that's true anymore. To participate in indie rock, to like these bands, you don't really have to be actively seeking out anything. There are bands that it's pretty easy to find without looking too hard. And on some level, that's really great, especially with a band like Spoon, who've been around for a really long time, making great records, still making really good records, who can now, play a show at Webster Hall and sell it out. That's a big deal, and that's really great for them. And a lot of people who might not have heard a band like that before can now hear them without having to have a cool older sibling or access to a college radio station or anything like that. The flip side of that is that the bands that become popular in the indie rock world, I think, have to have a certain level of mass appeal in the way they didn't before, or if they don't have mass appeal, whatever their quirk is, whatever their style or their shtick or their approach, has to be pretty obvious. The bands who are more subtle in what they do, I think, don't necessarily get rewarded by the culture the way it exists now.